The Northwest Province is gearing up for its flagship agricultural event, the Northwest Agricultural Show, taking place from Thursday to Saturday at the Vryburg Showgrounds. The three-day celebration of agriculture in the province will feature masterclasses, exhibitions, and one-on-one engagements between farmers, key stakeholders such as financial institutions, agribusiness leaders, and machinery manufacturers. According to the Northwest MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development, Madoda Sambatha, the show is designed to showcase and market agri-businesses, attract buyers and off-takers, and strengthen agricultural marketing while boosting agro-tourism. Sambatha emphasized that the show is a practical demonstration of the district development model, promoting intergovernmental collaboration and reviving unity amongst farmers, producers, youth, and innovators. For more on this, we're joined in studio now by Madoda Sambatha, the Northwest MEC for Agriculture and Rural Development, and virtually later on we'll be joined by Duncan Sirapelwane, a seasoned farmer and cattle breeder. MEC, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Does Northwest feed the country?
Thank you very much, Oliver, and thank you very much for hosting me. In practical terms, if you check maize production, we're number 3 in the country on maize producers. That contributes to feeding the nation. Though we're number 3, if you take Free State, it's 40%, taking Mpumalanga at 27, ourselves between 10 and 15, it means there's too much to do. But if you go back and check on cattle, you will understand that we're number 2 on live cattle. The irony on that, we're number 6 on beef, which means our cattle leave the province on
alive.
Food, alive. And they're slaughtered in Gauteng. Gauteng becomes number 1 on meat production.
Why do you not have sufficient abattoirs?
We do have a challenge on abattoirs availability. We also have a challenge on the basis of the collusion that you would have on the sector of abattoir, on the basis of those that are interested in transporting. They would take and transport anywhere for as long they've money to do that.
What does that mean in practical terms? That it is more profitable to export a live cattle out of the Northwest than to slaughter it in the Northwest?
What it means is that you have a number of people who necessarily are involved in the beef production and not on the cattle breeding. And their interest is beef production as to which province would livestock be slaughtered. It's none of their business as long as they're going to make money on buying live and taking for slaughter. And as a province, to deal with that, we have a program that we call beef beneficiation. It's meant to deal with cattle breeding and deal with the process of increasing the number of those that are slaughtered in the province so that we also increase on the number of meat that we sell. We're also doing that on the basis that we do now have a black abattoir supported by government, accredited by China, and this will help us both internally and external export.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Northwest economy. It's known as the platinum capital of the world, really, and that's what the world knows it gets from the Northwest, right? It's known for its mineral resources, not necessarily for its agricultural endowments and resources. But you want to change the narrative, and the show is one such initiative in how you're turning that around. How do you turn it around holistically and make that the economic offering of the Northwest? How do you attract the biggest beef producers in the country to come and set up shop in the Northwest and headquarter themselves there?
The reason why we're having a show exactly for that, we want to begin a process injected by government, led by farmers themselves, to market agricultural produce in the province, but throughout the country and in the SADC region. And we want to do that on the basis that marketing opportunities for your small-scale farmers and marketing opportunities for entities that are based in rural areas are close to non-existence if you don't create that space. That's why we have an agricultural show. And the basis for that, it's also to draw in your funding agencies so that people do not only rely on government funding when we know that government funding is consistently dwindling. One of the challenges we have, it's exactly what you said, that we are a platinum-dominated province. You always know that if you check the platinum dominance in Bujanala as a region, there's almost a competition between agriculture and mining, where in an instance you have an old agricultural operation where it has mining and mineral deposits. People prefer mineral deposit than continuing with agriculture in that instance. And this, of course, is on the basis of lack of understanding that agriculture is more sustainable and more lifelong than mining itself.
Duncan, I want to bring you in here. As a cattle breeder, would a marketing opportunity be the right sort of platform for you to grow your business? And I ask that because this is ultimately what the Northwest Agricultural Show offers.
Good afternoon, and good afternoon, everybody on the platform. Marketing of livestock is one of the most important components of cattle breeding. If you take myself, I'm more on bulls. I sell bulls, but there's a high demand of bulls on the outside countries and even inside in South Africa. If you are to take live animals, it's one component which will bring a lot of economy in our province. Small stock, our area, Vryburg area, which is known as South Africa, is having a lot of small stock, especially goats and sheep. Which, of course, much of the goats in our area are moving from here to KZN and to Eastern Cape. So that tells you that it's a serious opportunity in our province if it's utilized fully.
Yeah. Perhaps to ask this, as a cattle breeder, what has been some of the significant challenges you faced in your line of business that you hope this show and platform will be able to address, and what sort of relationships are you hoping to build that will help you address those?
Look, as a small business person, it's not easy to enter the big market. You must understand that myself as a stud breeder, it was not easy. It's still not easy to enter this particular market because it has previously been dominated by a certain sector of our farming community. But very few black people are getting into this particular sector. And it needs a lot of expertise. It needs a lot of money. It needs a lot of support. And in many cases, government is not yet fully understanding what is happening here. So if you start this thing, you need to have somebody who mentors you, that's why mentoring in farming is very important, and it has to be taken very seriously. If you take Northwest, for example, we have very few stud breeders from the Bonsmara sector. If you go to the Brahman sector, there are less than 5. If you go to other breeds, there are very few also, if not none. Now, that tells you that that market is not an easy market. Now, you see, that's why part of my job is to mentor some young people who are not young per age, yes, young per age, but young in terms of entering this particular market.
Yeah.
So opportunities like these, it's where you get a lot of people that you can talk to, that you can showcase your talent, where you can showcase your products so that they can have the interest in that particular market.
Yeah. MEC, have you ensured that the right sort of people will be attending to answer exactly those questions and concerns in terms of mentoring those who are new in the sector to be able to make the right sort of decisions?
Well, Oliver, in terms of our strategy, we are avoiding a situation where government appears to be the one that is leading. We have anchored our programs around stud breeders in all sectors, especially those that we know that they are successful on their own as individuals, they are successful and recognized in the sector. If you would know that our beef beneficiation program is led by Dr. Mfigwe, who himself is a stud breeder, and the ambassador of the show is Mr. Serapelwano, the one you are talking to, is an ambassador of the show. He's successful on his own. He has been in all the shows, including shows outside South Africa. And we're doing that on the basis that it's better for an aspirant farmer to listen to a stud breeder or a successful farmer, encouraging him to venture in farming, than listening only to an MEC who says, if you do this, you will have this. But beside that, in terms of our own policy and funding support, on the side of the grain, as we speak of this financial year, we have 68 million meant to support grain production and grain farmers. On the side of beef, like we have spoken about beef, we have almost 36 million meant to support beef beneficiation. And this we're doing as a province together with national, and we are in discussions with the national government, especially with the Ministry of Women and Children, People with Disabilities, on a program separate that is meant to incubate provinces that have higher number of unemployment in the country. If you can check, as we speak of now, talking about learnerships in agriculture, only this financial year in Northwest, it's 17,000. 3,000, it's out of AgriSeta that we're working very well with them. 14,000, it's funded through the program of Department of Labor.
Yeah. You mentioned the district development model as being the embodiment of the success of what a show like this can do. Tell us how and why.
The reason we're moving on that is because national government took a decision that development in the country must then be modeled through a DDM model where local municipality, district, provincial departments and national department in that particular district. In this instance, the show is Dr. Rutsi Khumutsi Mumpati in Naledi local municipality. It involves all local municipalities, it involves the district municipality, it also involves both provincial and national departments in terms of that program at DDM. This is to ensure that we share resources so that we can maximize the impact to our people as a whole, so that we avoid an element of planning and acting on silos, and avoid an element where people could be do double dipping. Get assistance on that department, don't disclose to another and still get an assistance on another department. Yet if you are in a DDM model, well coordinated, you will know who does what, so that you understand who needs to be intervened on, and intervention is based on the basis of sharing resources.
Yeah. Mr. Serapelwano, let's perhaps talk about money, finances. Farmers need a lot of money. It's a capital-intensive business. And oftentimes, many farmers, particularly small-scale farmers as well as black farmers in particular, who lack the sort of historic collateral that banks and financial institutions are looking for, sometimes are excluded from being able to access the large-scale capital that they need for the expansion that they need for their operations. When we started this conversation, the MEC said financing institutions will be a part of this show. Let's talk about some of the financing needs that farmers in the Northwest in particular have been facing, particularly farmers who operate in livestock like yourself, who have had to contend with foot and mouth disease, who can't afford to access vaccines, who can't afford to incubate their livestock. Talk to me about the financing element of it. What are the needs on that front?
Oliver, I think there's a lot of opportunities as far as funding is concerned. The problem is more on the education to our farmers. Education does not reach our people that much. That's one. Two, our people don't go an extra mile also to seek for more information. I mean, if you take, for example, now Land Bank has what we call blended finance, which is a joint venture, I think, of government and Land Bank. And the same blended finance, it's also been given to APSA to manage it also. So education is getting very slowly to our people. Our people also don't Google that much to get what is needed. FIDA, it's also one of the financial institutions out of government, which is maybe parastatal. Those are some of the opportunities which are there. But the other challenge which is there is our people, they don't keep the records of their farming business. I think most of our people are still running farming as a hobby, not as a business. So it's a question of changing the mindset of our people that, look, this is a business. It's not a hobby. It's a business. The other challenge which is there from my little experience is if you go to the auctioneer houses, most of our people don't want to go straight to the auction because they say in the auction, they are being charged VAT, they are being charged commission, and they are being charged whatever. So instead of going there, they'll rather go to a certain somebody who buys outside. And this is the challenge the MEC is talking about, that a large number of livestock leave the hands of the black farmers into the white farmers because of that particular challenge.
Yeah.
You see? So that on its own, it poses a challenge.
Yeah, I just want to bring the MEC.
Yeah,
MEC, let's talk about the blended finance Mr. Serapulana is talking about then, of course, using government resources to leverage some of those financing models, for instance, to present an offer of government guarantees of default to farmers who need it the most, but also looking at financing instruments such as debt and equity combined, or even grants to the extent that you have free money to give away. How has the province approached the financing question?
Well, thank you very much, Oliver. In fact, you are putting a proper question. Majority of South Africans still argue that they need farmer subsidies. I, on a daily basis, tell them that if you need a farmer subsidy, you will wait for Parliament to say, thou shalt have a subsidy. Yet, the current conditional grant on CASP, it's a subsidy. Because each farmer, on the 68 million I'm talking about for maize, each farmer that is assisted is not expected to pay back. On the 36 million that I'm talking about on red meat, each farmer that is assisted is not expected to pay back. So it is money that goes straight to farmers as it is appropriated. It is appropriated based on the application farmers did submit. The second one you're talking about, the blended finance. As you know, Land Bank and other financial institutions are working on implementation of blended finance, which blended finance is still a program of national government, Department of Agriculture, because once helped through blended finance, you only pay 40% and you do not pay back 60%. And the reason it's rendered through financial institutions, it's on the basis of encouraging individual finance institutions to also have an investment in farming themselves. It's great that government pays 60%, 40%, then the 40% you would have got from financial institution, you must pay back. But what is also good is that linked to that, it's an element of mentorship and an element of ensuring that the farmer himself is developed in the program. You not just get money as dumping, it's money with development.
Yeah, let me say we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it. Mr. Duncan Serapulana, thank you so much for joining us as well, and all the best. Really do appreciate it. Well, it seems like that there's a lot of promise in the Northwest as far as its agricultural sector is concerned and the upsides that exist to it. If you do have some time, do go out. Even if perhaps you're just a lowly financier, go out. Engage some of the farmers and those value chain players in the Northwest.